Hey, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So I am here. I'm so excited for this episode because I met Miss Tammy back not too long ago. I was speaking at an event in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, Mr. Larry Steinhaus. And a lot of y'all know Mr. Larry Steinhaus, author of the book Money Hacks, where in that book he has a chapter 13, that talks all about the infinite banking concept. And so I was up there speaking at Larry's event, his Money Hacks event, and Tammy was in the audience, and we just really got connected on, just our values and how we communicate and the value that she's bringing to her people and her community. So, Miss Tammy, it's a pleasure to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's good to connect with you again. I just love you, Hannah. You're
And you look
amazing.
fabulous today, too. I like the lip color.
Thank you. I have to go bold sometimes, right? I'm a moody dresser, and so I just put what I feel like on for the day.
Yes. Moody dresser, and that's a good term, too. I like that. I'm the same way because I love it. I mean, my folks that have been following me for a long time, they know that in the past, because I'm still a young girl, when I was figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, I actually wanted to go to Savannah College of Art and Design and get into the fashion design world.
Oh,
I've always
okay.
had that unique fashion sense, and I love it because you really share who you are on the inside by how you display yourself on the outside.
Yes. So when I travel, I take extra clothes because I may not be in the mood to wear that dress or those pants or those jeans. So I like variety and choices.
Yep. And especially because my father thinks I'm a heavy packer, but I'm like, Dad, I just don't know what mood I'm going to be in when I wake up that morning. Are we going dressy? Are we going comfy? What are we doing?
Yeah. And I don't really care if it's appropriate or not. This is what I feel like. So I'm
Yeah.
going to be authentic.
Yes. And so, Tammy, you talk a lot about, and you actually have a book out there, right? Is that book live and it's published and people can go and buy it?
Yes, there's actually three books on the marketplace. The first one is entitled The Inmate and the Medium, and I wasn't the inmate. And then the second one is 65 Signs That You're an Older Soul, because I predominantly attract old souls to work with in the work that I do. And then there's this new one, and this is the only one I have in front of me right now. It's Superpowers Unleashed: How to Identify and Monetize Your Senses, your five senses. And I have a journal and a book, and that just got me an Amazon bestseller.
Hey, well, congrats.
Yes, thank you. And now I found out that I am top contributor for self-development in LinkedIn as well. So it's kind of exciting to be where I am and what I'm doing and speaking on stages now more
Yeah.
than I ever have.
Yeah, no, which is good. Because you talk a lot about how feeling different from others and in the sense of not fitting in, and you walking down your own path kind of led you to this business of you coaching other females, men in that area. So I guess I want to start off by allowing you to share your story of from then your struggles to where you're at now, really harnessing your superpower that you have.
I think that each one of us have supernatural things that we do, and we don't realize that they're supernatural because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So every single person on this planet, Hannah, has supernatural experiences, but why don't we talk about them? And the reason we don't talk about them is because people think we're crazy. People think we're off. People think we're speaking Greek when we're speaking English. Why are you not getting this? This is not rocket science. This is simple. Why do I know it and you don't know it? And what happened to me was at the age of 11, I had a Southern Baptist pastor come to my grandmother's house, and he came over to where we were, but next door. And he's talking to me about God and Jesus and love. And I'm like, well, who are these guys and why would you tell me they love me? I'm 11 and I'm obviously feeling things out. And he told me about God and Jesus. And then he started speaking about heaven and hell. And I said, don't talk to me about heaven and hell. Talk to me about the love thing. I'm not loved. And I said that out loud. And then when I invited love in my heart, I'm sorry, you may hear my dog. She's playing with her bone behind me. when, when I was hearing about love and this unconditional love and these guys that I don't even know could possibly love me, I'm like, I want to know about that.
Mhm.
And so I invited that love in my heart. And when I did, I woke up the next morning and I was not the same kid.
Yeah.
And I remember lying in bed and thinking, what has happened to me and why do I feel different? And why does my body feel different? And why am I thinking different thoughts? And how come I know what my parents are saying in the other room? Where did this ability open up? How can I know things? And I went to school and innocently start talking to the other kids, and I'm helping them and I'm really giving readings. And I don't even know that I'm giving readings until I'm in my late, I would say 20s, early 30s. I didn't know that I had these abilities. I just thought, if I know it, why can't we talk about it?
Yeah.
So on the playground one day with a little kid playing, I was very competitive, loved kickball and any kind of competitive sport. And I said to him, why didn't you tell me that your grandmother almost died? She's been in the hospital for 3 days. And he looked at me incredulously and said, what? My grandmother's not in the hospital. What are you talking about? And I said, yeah, she almost died. I would have prayed for her. So the next day he comes to me and says, I went home and talked to my parents, and my grandmother did almost die, and she was in the hospital for 3 days. I can't play with you anymore. My parents didn't want me to know this.
Oh,
And so it became painful, Hannah, being this different person that knew things about people. And I didn't understand why I knew them, but really all of my senses opened up. And all of a sudden, I have these abilities that I really don't know what to do with. So when you correlate this to other people, it's that every single one of you have these senses, every single one of you have supernatural abilities. Why not know what they are and then start utilizing them for your own success?
yeah.
You know, for you to really be able to get into who you are, what you do, how you function, how you communicate, and stop hiding, come out of hiding, and just come out to the world and go, here I am, and this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to use it. So this entire series, this journey, this journal and the book is really written for every single human on the planet. It's deeper than a personality test. And it is that way for us to really own who we are, how we function, why certain things happen to us. And it helps you identify you are a freak, and it's okay to fly the freak flag.
Yeah, yeah. And we're scared too because people they push us down as society, or just even the thoughts of, oh, I got to keep up with the Joneses and make sure that everything on the outside is picture perfect and there are no struggles here. Like how do you think, and I think we're doing this a lot better now with our development of mental health and making sure we have a good work-life balance. Are you seeing us shift more towards that as a society to really celebrate our differences?
I think the way that social media has really come out and the internet, and that we can really speak, more people are speaking up and really being more authentic. And the ones that are really doing it from that inner voice of, this is me, I'm just going to be honest. I think the world is a much more blessed space. I think that kind of gave us permission. Now, we also have that opposite extreme where people are being vocal and nasty and mean and berating and judging and condemning. I don't like any of that, but the permission that we're coming to, I would like for us to do it in person, not just hiding behind a desk or a social media platform or a picture. And so this takes it to a whole other level of you just saying, now I know who I am and how I function and why I've lived the way that I have, why I have experienced the things that I do, because this is what I do for clients. I help them identify, to get to know themselves, to learn about self-love, and then to step out in whatever their stage is,
Yeah.
whether it is with family, friends, relationship, lovers. jobs, careers. It doesn't really matter where you are, but if you become that authentic person that steps out and says, I'm going to be me and I want you to be you, then we can love each other unconditionally. Then we can actually get more done. Then we can stop the judging and the hating and the backbiting and the talking about and saying, I know this is your skill set. I know this is where your strength is. My strength is over here. Can we connect and engage?
Yeah, yeah. Because I
It
think there's
becomes this beautiful thing.
and
Go
that's
ahead.
it. And there's a huge difference between, oh my gosh, and it kind of stems from last night. I spent my evening watching the movie Wall-E. Don't come after me. No, I did not have a childhood and I did not watch that movie growing up, but I finally watched it. And I think there's a difference between just surviving and really living. And I think when you really harness that, hey, this, I am different. I'm not like everybody. And when you start to really find that purpose that drives you, that becomes a whole new meaning of living my life instead of just surviving. And I want a lot of my listeners to really think about that. Are you just surviving, keeping up every single day, just doing what you think you should be doing? Are you actually living to that full potential? And Tammy, this is where I want to kind of ask you, I mean, where do people start? Like when folks are having this shift in their thinking, where do they really start with honing that craft of, oh, this is really me? I mean, my mom always talks a whole lot about like journaling and just getting your thoughts out there. But yeah, once I have these thoughts and I'm getting them all written down, I mean, what is that next step that I should be doing to live a more purpose driven, fulfilled life?
The first thing that everybody really needs to know is who they are. And this is why this book was written, was because you have the five senses. Well, then there's the five senses that correlate to the non-physical. So seeing beyond the seen, hearing beyond the heard. So I'm going to use clairaudient as an example. So clairaudience is being able to hear. It's not just hearing what is going on in the physical. Now that is exasperated for somebody that is clairaudient, because I could put 3,000 people in a room with Tony Robbins, and about 5% of them would be clairaudient, and then they would hear things that nobody else in the room heard.
Mhm.
But then they would also hear the inflections in the voice. They would hear beyond the hear. I'm so sorry. My dog is barking at the neighbors. This is live. This is the way it goes. Um, so I was with, and I talk about this in the book, I was with my Grammy nominated speaking coach who used to be this opera singer that traveled the world. And we were talking about me doing like a TEDx style talk. And she's like, just give me an example of what you're talking about. And I said, well, if we don't know who we are, we don't realize that we're actually using these abilities and we don't even know that they're located in the body. There's four of them that are located in one location. And I said, clairaudient, for example, is you. You're clairaudient. She said, I am. And I said, yeah, and clairaudience is not inside the ears. It's on the bone right here behind the ears. And she starts crying. And I said, what's behind the tears? And she said, Tammy, before the curtain would raise, and I'm about to sing Italian opera, I would rub these bones.
Hmm.
I didn't even know that I was opening up the ability to hear myself singing and the music so that I would perform better. So you see, in just that one example, Hannah, if we don't realize that we have these abilities that correlate with the calling, with the mission in life, with what we really came to do, we're more equipped than we know.
Yeah.
So if we can start this self-identification process of, wow, I did do that. Like people who have clairgustance sometimes will touch their upper abdomen almost as if they're wanting to digest something to get an inspiration. We don't even know we're doing those signs.
Yeah.
But clairgustance is amazing because it goes way beyond just tasting. It's tasting the essence of life.
Yeah.
So we have bodily movements and functions that we don't even know correlate with the physical side of ourselves, the five senses, but also with the non-physical side of ourselves.
Yeah.
So if we can start to put that picture together and then we go, oh my God, I'm this. And by the way, I have a quiz for people to figure out what their dominant sensory superpower is. if you start to figure that out, then what I would suggest that you do is you go to meetings, or you go to church services, or you go to events, or you go to speaking engagements, or you hear a song, and then you start talking to your friends about it, or people that you know heard the same thing, and go, what did you hear?
Mhm.
Because I heard this.
Mhm.
And then you start to realize, oh my goodness, I do have abilities.
Mhm.
And then when you start acknowledging that in your journal, and this is why the journal goes with this, when you start acknowledging that, the universe says, oh, he or she is focused on those. I have to give them more.
Yeah.
I have to expand this. And then when you start realizing, oh, I can use this to get promotions in my job. I can use this to get people to hear me.
Yeah.
I can use this to speak my truth. It's this extraordinary self-exploration.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're told, get your college degree, do this, do this, do this, get in line, but none of us are the same.
Yeah.
So if we pull in and go, who am I? How do I function? How do I receive information? What is my intuition telling me? But through that one ability, what decisions can I make? It gets rid of all of your insecurities.
Yeah.
You're going to make decisions so much faster and easier, and you're going to be more authentic.
Hey, Money Multipliers, pardon the interruption. If it's been a while or if you've never seen my presentation on the Money Multiplier method, what we also call the infinite banking concept, click this link right here, themoneymultiplier.com/presentation. It will take you to my 90-minute presentation on this powerful information that can drastically change your financial future. All right, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, yeah. And now what's your thoughts on having folks behind you that support you in that journey? I mean, do you see that you're working with just specifically individuals, or it's a team of people all working together, going in that uphill, helping them with their business and their personal life? Because it's really, yeah, it starts with you, but then you have that support system outside of you, and then honing that craft to then talk with your team members. Hey, this is what I'm really needing. This is how I operate. Are you seeing a correlation there with the team and you as your own individual?
Oh, goodness, Hannah, you're onto something so profound. I mean, I just want to thank you for bringing this up, because one of the things that I talk about in the book is how to communicate with other people so that you can own what your ability is, and then how to see it in them, what the signs are. What does it look like when it's beginning? What does it look like when it's more developed? What happens when you're using it haphazardly because you have all five of these, but you've got dominant ones? So one of the things that I am doing is going into companies and training everyone at one time, and then training them who is best at this specific project or this specific part, because each of these senses really gives you an edge above other people, and they have an edge above where you are. So if we learn how to correlate and connect, and really your strength is here, I'm a little bit weaker on that, but not looking at it as bad or good. Just my strength is here, your strength is here. Let's get together. When we connect and we engage, then the companies are going to make more money.
Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be more production. There's going to be more raises. There's going to be more validation. To give you an example, I have an engineer that's a client of mine, and she always, when she first came to me, she's like, I feel like I should be doing something spiritual. I said, what if your spiritual work is in IT? She was a manager and she was in a man's world. And I said, I'm going to teach you how to use your clairaudience. What she found out was her teams around the world didn't really like having weekly meetings, and neither did she.
Mm.
And so I said, I want you to start using your ability to hear, and you're going to start hearing them say these things. Now, as an intuitive, I can tell her what's going to happen, and what sort of things to look for because I'm reading her stuff. But I said, I'm going to teach you how to do it. And she realized that they only wanted to meet once a month. And guess what happened to the production? The production of the entire team in India and China and around the world that she had started overproducing the other teams.
Mm.
And then the managers are coming to her and going, you're not even meeting as much as you did. Why is your production improved immediately and miraculously? And it's because she was listening.
Yeah. And we don't
And
get
she was
enough of that.
listening to herself because she didn't want to meet once a week.
Mhm.
So that inner listening of being able to say, I don't even like this. If it's not right for me, it's not right for you. And then that team effort, everybody actually gets connected.
Mm-hmm. And how often are you seeing folks do this? Because I know there was a mentor that I had in the past where you can keep pushing day in and day out to, think about these things, to make these improvements. But if you don't really sit and listen and quiet with yourself for a little bit, what good is all of this inner work that I'm doing without having to go in and then actually putting steps behind implementing it? So are you seeing this be like a weekly thing that folks are just taking like a Sunday that they're just sitting down and tuning in to themselves? I call it grounding, right? Grounding themselves to identify, okay, these are my areas that I need to work on. This is what we did great this week. Now here's what we're going to be doing moving forward this week. Is this a weekly thing, a daily thing that people are doing, a quarterly?
I'm going to tell you something that's very different. I understand what you're saying, and it's smart and it's wise and it's good to what I say, audit your life.
Yeah.
What I teach is live your daily life. The universe is going to bring to you exactly what you need to know, when you need to know it, how you need to know it. So, what I do is teach people to live their daily lives and awaken to their sensory superpowers, seeing things. I didn't see that before.
Mhm.
What did that mean? When they rolled their eyes, that means disgust. I saw that. I've seen them do this 50 times. I never really noticed it. Now I know that wasn't resonating. I won't say that to them again. Or I won't go to them with that issue or to them for support. So it's about learning self nurturing by what information you are receiving just by living life. Then that's when I would go into the audit space.
Okay.
I would write down, and this book actually teaches this. I would write down at the end of each day, what did I learn today? What did I see, feel, hear, taste, smell? Like we've used these terms our entire lives. I smelled a rat.
Yeah.
Well, that's clairscent.
Okay.
I that left a bad taste in my mouth. That's clairgustance. So the journal and that quiet time is actually to reevaluate what did I learn today? How many things did I see? How many things did I hear? How many things did I taste the essence and the energy of?
Yeah.
And then that's when you do the audit.
Yeah.
And then going to other people and saying, you were in the same meeting I was, or you were in the same conference that I was. What did you get?
Yeah.
And then you start to realize, oh, I am picking up on more than I thought, and I can use it instead of invalidating, validate yourself
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
learn how to hone that and honor it. And how will I use it the next meeting that I have? What will I do with it? I'm teaching an engineer right now to sit in the meetings and actually contribute in a way that is not an insecure way, where
Mm.
he's worried about whether or not people are listening. He's speaking from a more authoritative space. And guess what? He's getting promotions and he's getting recognized. And he used to be passed over for all of those because the worry of, if I speak up too much, if I say too much, if I, now he's not doing that. Guess what? He's getting the money.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what about like people pleasers? Are you working with a lot of people pleasers? And is that a big one that, and I'm just going to be honest too, because that's where I come from. And most of my struggles is that, it's hard for me to say no or let people down. But then when you push yourself too hard or to that limit, then there's the burnout and the stress and the anxiety, the depression that all comes with it. Are you working with folks that, they want to give, and give, and they want to say the right things to those people, but then there comes a time where you got to protect your number one asset, which is you, your health, your well-being, and it's okay to let some people down. And I don't want to use the terms let them down. We want to be there to really support those people within our organization or our clients. But what would you say for those people pleasers that are out there who are just go, go, go?
I would say let's get rid of your codependency and the not so great way to use clairsentience. So clairsentience is feeling. So what a lot of us do with that heightened sense of feeling everything is I may feel what you are going through, and then I'll readjust me based on what I feel coming from you. That's where the people pleasing comes in. I can feel that you're not pleased with me. I can feel that you're not happy. But Hannah, it could be that the reason that they're not happy is something that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So clairsentients have more of that innate nature of being codependent and worrying more about other people and becoming even more insecure by feeling the energy of other people instead of staying in my lane
Yeah.
and going, I feel where you are. Does it resonate with me? Do I take that energy on, or do I just say, thank you so much for showing me you're not the one for me to get this with?
Yeah.
Could be the beginning of a relationship. It could be you're in an interview and you're not feeling good vibes coming from that person. I teach a lot of people how to telepathically communicate and then how to use their abilities to actually go further, to just sit back and go, I'm not going to take on the energy, but I am reading it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to say, if this is, show me the truth.
Yeah.
And then the person's just starts spilling their guts and saying, I don't know why I'm acting this way. I'm sorry. I found out my mother-in-law was sick, or something. So instead of taking something on, not being able to identify it, stay in your lane as a feeling person and go, am I really supposed to do something? Is that what I'm being called to do? Or am I just supposed to know this, that you're having a rough day?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't address this right now. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, I do. And especially when it comes to like the money aspect of your life, because that's what I talk a lot about on, right? That's my business over here at the Money Multiplier. And I talk a lot about how you have your 5 circles of your life, and the objective is keep the circles within balance. But there will be some days where one's a little bit off balance. I need to spend more time over here in my personal health or my family relationships and not so much on my money lifestyle here. And I know my people, they are gaining all of this knowledge. They're trying to do more and better for them. And they work, 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 but they don't really understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. To take it back, they're just surviving rather than living within their life. And so I think a lot of people could benefit from your teachings and this book that you're referring to, because you gave us 3 books here. In those books, which is the one that folks are taking the quiz on to really go in and I dissect and identify?
It's this one, Superpowers Unleashed, identify and monetize your senses. This is the one that kind of wakes people up, puts the mirror in front of them, and then they go, okay, this is me. This is how I function. Now I can figure out how everyone around me needs for me to communicate with them. So instead of doing what they do, you're wiser, you're staying in your lane, and you're going, okay, you're clairvoyant. You need to see it. So I'm going to give you illustrations so that I can connect with you. So this book, this whole thing, and I have a class and I have the quiz and I have weekend retreats. They're all designed for you to know yourself first. And then to be able, I'm actually leading one this weekend with quite a few people. It's knowing who you are and how you function first. And then when you know these key tools, then you can actually use this with every single person that you come in contact with, where you're not living their energy. I know what it's like to feel, because as an intuitive, people will ask me, how did my relative pass? And I'll go, well, they hung themselves with a belt and you walked down the hallway and saw them. I can actually feel the choking.
Wow.
So I use it to identify, but not take on the energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I teach people, how do you get the information that you need to know what decisions to make that gives you that advantage? I love that you do the money, because the money is one of the biggest relationships that we have in life.
Wow.
I love what you're doing and what your father does and what he taught you, and how you embrace that. To me, you have a really great relationship with money.
Yeah.
And that's what you gift so many people with. And the energy of you having that good relationship, now that's a good energy to pick up on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good one to take in and go, oh, I want what Hannah's teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I want how she looks at money. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And I can be really good lovers with it. I
Yes.
love money and money loves me. Now I
Yeah.
have to learn how to do that
Yeah. Yeah.
and use it. It's the same thing. You're doing the same thing. You're doing it with money, and I'm doing it with your abilities.
Yes. Yes. And really cultivating that craft. Now, is there something that the listener should know that I'm not asking, that they can take proactive steps today to better themselves?
I'm going to tell you that every single one of you are divinely and beautifully made. You are extraordinary just the way you are. You may be like me and you didn't have mentors, you didn't have caretakers that really were about love. I mean, I know that you have had that in your father. I didn't have that. There's a lot of us that are hurting because we don't really feel like we have those teachers or those mentors that really have supported us. This is time for you to step into knowing who you are. And then when you do that, all of your insecurities are just going to fall off.
Yes.
You're going to make better decisions. You're going to make quicker decisions. You're not going to question yourself, which I call a form of self-abuse.
Mhm.
And you're going to be living a more authentic and fun life because imagine going to events now and you're going, I'm going to see what I can pick up. What
Yeah.
do you, what do you need for me to know about you?
Yeah.
I taught my son when he was interviewing for Medtronics. He's in the spinal division. And I said, oh, the job is already decided. So here's the signs you look out for. And he left the meeting and he went, I really don't believe very much in your woo-woo stuff, Mom. But I have to tell you that everything you said actually happened. And I said, and now you can negotiate a higher salary.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's using who you are and what abilities you have because spiritual teachers, and I am one of them, tell people you have all the answers within you. And I just want to say bullshit if we're not teaching them how they have those answers and how they can get that information so that they can use it to catapult their lives and have fun doing it. So this is like this exploration, this fun journey to walk on. Like, I feel like what you're doing for me is kind of fun. Oh, I can do that with money. I can pay myself back first. I didn't even know about velocity banking until you.
Yeah.
So you've made money fun.
Yeah.
And I think we're supposed to be enjoying our lives in that way instead of so burdened with not having enough. We are more than what we can measure.
Yeah. And the biggest message I just want to get across too is that, because I have struggled with that in the past, being my age where I'm at right now and kind of following that shadow of my father. And maybe y'all have those mentors and those people in your life that you've been following them and it's been great up to this point. But then you kind of come to a fork in the road saying, well, hey, this has been great. I've learned a lot, but I'm ready to scale up to that next level where this is my journey and this is the road that I'm trying to go down instead of always living within that shadow of somebody else. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, to walking down that path of saying, hey, this is me. I'm going to shine through. I don't really care, or pardon my French, I don't give a rat's ass what anybody thinks about it because this is what I'm going to do. And I am harnessing my superpower here that I'm going to step into the Hannah Kessler light instead of my other mentors in my area. And I think a lot of people need to hear that message that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be different. I know it might freak you out at the forefront, but you're going to live a much happier, purpose living driven life than just following the norms and then the society, what they're telling you is okay to do.
I look at it from your vantage point as well as just a little bit different. You graduated
Graduated. Yep.
and your mentor was perfect and just right and just enough. And now you're being called to something that they weren't called to do.
Yep.
So I look at when it comes to that thing where I have clients that have graduated me. And I'm like, that's the whole point, is
Yeah.
for you to graduate me. I had one just recently say, I graduated. And I said, I know, congratulations. That's my point, that you graduate. I think we graduate mentors. I think we graduate certain curriculums here in life.
Yes.
And then we get to that point to where it's the next. Now I would say, Hannah, consider just saying yes to whatever the next thing is.
Yep. Yeah.
What is the next thing? Say yes to it.
Well, no. So, hey, all I want to share with you is that I really find a lot of value of what you are preaching and teaching to your people. And I think it's important. Take a step back to work on yourself, work on your business rather than always working in it. And that shift can be very beneficial for you as you scale up and move forward. And Tammy, are there live events that you're doing or webinars, and where can people find you?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, there's a master class that I'm giving away for free that anybody that buys this book, if they send info at tammydemirza.com and they show some kind of, they just put in the thing, proof of purchase, they take a picture of themselves with a book. I post it on social media. If they just send me a receipt, that's good. There's a master class that I'm giving away for free. Now, if anybody does it before tomorrow night, they get that live with me. Otherwise, anybody that sends me that they bought this book, I will send them that master class for free.
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing because you have a lot of live people there that are actually asking questions, and it goes much deeper than what I write about in the book. Now, I do have a 6-week class, Awakening Your Sensory Superpowers. And you get 6 weeks live with me. Plus, you have homework, and then you get the audio book. You get a lot of free gifts with that. You can take that class over and over and over again for 6 months. And then there's the weekend events. And then there's all kinds of things that are coming up. There's a lot of content on social media that is free about this. So have them get in touch with me. Write me at info@tammydemirza.com. Join my email list. I give a lot of things away for free at tammydemirza.com. And come and join the family.
Yep. Yes, community is so important, especially when you're setting out and you feel different on this journey. It's good to know that you have the support system and community behind you too, of people who are in the same exact shoes that you are.
Yes. And that's something I will mention on the back of this book is a QR code for people to join a private global community where I actually answer questions.
Good.
So it's good to be in a community of like-minded people in any level where you're all growing, you're all curious, you're all wanting to know this is not enough for us.
Yeah.
We want to go deeper. That's where I feel like you are in your life. I'm ready for the next level. Just say yes to the universe and then it'll guide you there.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Yes.
Tammy, I appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on and sharing your powerful message with the community. And I will make sure, y'all, I'm going to be posting Tammy's contact info in the show notes, the description down below, whether you're watching on the podcast platforms or on YouTube. And with that being said, Tammy, I just appreciate you. So thank you.
I love you, Hannah, already. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Yes. And y'all, we will be back next week with another episode. I got a lot of guests coming on here in the next few weeks. I know we're getting here into the end of the year. And I just challenge y'all, even though we're getting into the end of the year, it's not too late to start new goals and ideas that you can keep practicing. Don't just wait until January 1st to roll around. You can start implementing these ideas and action items today. Or as Chris Noggle likes to say, he usually has his watch on and you ask him what is the time is now. So get on that. The time is now. Don't keep waiting around, because hey, you're going to be in the same exact position you are today or 3 years ago or 3 years from now, and you can keep implementing these things going further and further in your journey. So I see you and I'm proud of you, y'all. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in on another episode. I'll be back next week. And rate the podcast. Give me a comment down below. Send me an email with your questions, or if you have other folks that you want me to bring on. Hannah spelled the same way, forwards and backwards. Hannah at themoneymultiplier.com. I'll catch y'all then. Bye, y'all.